Hey there everyone, I'm Jakejames Lugo, and welcome to the channel, where you'll find some of the most fair and honest game reviews out here. Now I know the game we're talking about today, Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, is based on another game that's coming out sometime in 2023, but because the game is out now, I figured, you know what, why not just discuss it now since it's kind of relevant at the moment. So is the game actually very good, or does it suck? That's really the important thing that everybody wants to know. If you're someone who enjoys PS1 era role-playing games, then you're probably interested in the upcoming Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, which is releasing in 2023 for different platforms. The game is heavily inspired by the Suikoden series, since the director is the same guy who created Suikoden in the first place. But before that comes out, Rabbit & Bear Studios released a spin-off title called Eiyuden Chronicle Rising for multiple platforms. This is an action RPG that's also referred to as a town creation RPG. This means along with the real-time combat, you also build up the hub area or town within the game. But before I get into all of that, here's everything that's going on with the story. You control a young girl named CJ, a treasure hunter who comes to the town of New Naveja in search of treasure. The town suffers a series of earthquakes that seem to be caused by something within the nearby ruins. CJ finds herself helping out the town residents to rebuild while piquing her curiosity of the ruins, with hopes of finding treasure. Along the way, she links up with a beast man named Garu and a sorceress named Isha. Both have their own stories and motivations that coincide with CJ's story. The three of them eventually come face to face with the dark secret of the ruins, which will impact their lives and influence the fate of the world. This is honestly a very contained story that's supposed to tie into something larger that will come later on. This may or may not work for some people, and it's understandable. The characters we see here are only a portion of what we're going to get in the next game. But is that enough to still make Eiyuden Chronicle Rising a fun adventure for action RPG lovers? So here's my thing with this game. Even though the story itself is not bad or terrible by any means, it is what it is, without spoiling and such, I do have to say that I kinda wish that this game came out after the release of Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, to at least give us some of that context and a little bit more appreciation for whatever the cameos or references that are in this game related to that game. Here's a good example. Imagine if we played something like Dirge of Cerberus before Final Fantasy VII, or played or saw Kingsglaive Final Fantasy 15 before Final Fantasy 15 proper. I mean, you could enjoy those experiences for what they are, but all those references, those nods, those little Easter eggs and things that are definitely big like nods and like, harken backs to those original experiences, you're not going to have that same level of appreciation or understanding without playing those games first. It's just the way it is, and I feel that same way here between Rising and whatever 100 Heroes is going to be. That being said, however, I will say that some of the characters in this game, a lot of their like traits and their kind of like, quirks and stuff for their personalities is definitely very anime. So if you're not really too into the anime-like storytelling or a lot of the stuff that you see with anime-like stories, this might not be your cup of tea, but you can still appreciate other aspects of the game even though the story might not be for you. And speaking of which, let's talk about gameplay, because there's a lot of things in here that I think are pretty interesting, but not at all perfect. When it comes to the action, Rising does things pretty well. There's characteristics of Metroidvania exploration mixed in with some action RPG elements, which I really like. You can visit multiple locations with many screens to explore and fight groups of enemies. I really like the visuals of the backgrounds with their little details, along with some tasteful placement of objects in the foreground as you play. It really gives a vibrance to each location that you visit. But what about the combat itself? To be honest, it can be sluggish at the start, but the pace really picks up and gets very good after you progress a few hours into the story. Instead of just controlling one character, you eventually control three that can link their attacks together. This is where I feel the combat is at its best, since you could get up to 4 or 5 chained attacks for some major damage against groups of enemies and boss fights. I still feel it takes way too long to get everyone into your party, so you could really take advantage of this in battles. I would have preferred to have the full party a lot earlier, that way I could spend a lot more time doing link attacks between all 3 main characters. But once things open up, You could have a lot of fun here. But that's only one side of the game. The other part is the town building, which, to be honest, is very loosely implemented. Every time you complete quests throughout the game, you're given stamps that reward you with experience and other goodies like money and items. If you collect a certain amount of stamps, you could upgrade the town and open up new areas like extra vendors to interact with. The more side quests you finish, the more things unlock in the town. This is cool, but doesn't really feel like a town building or creation to me. I get the term is very general here, but I would have liked to see more things that were customizable about the town. Even if it was something as small as changing the color of buildings, or having the option to unlock vendors of my choosing when I get a certain number of stamps. As it is now, you could just do side quests for vendors and townsfolk and things upgrade in that part of the town. So while I get what they were referring to here, I feel like this part of the game could have been taken a little further and really become something special. I know that it's very much wishful thinking, but I really do believe that the town aspect or the hub area aspect of this game could have been really special if they would have just taken a few things just a little bit further, whether it's the customization of the buildings, interacting with some of the other characters and the other like vendors in different ways, or other stuff to really kind of, accentuate that customization element to the town building. I just felt like it would have been awesome because I really do like the combat, the action RPG elements of this game. I think that stuff is great. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Valkyrie Profile Lenneth, just in the way that type of like turn-based quote-unquote battle system works out, where you're controlling multiple characters to different face buttons. That stuff to me is actually really cool, and when it's implemented well, it works out great. Something else I should mention, that once you finish all of the main and the side quests in the entire game, there's pretty much not much else to do. I mean, you do get a hard mode difficulty setting, which is fine, and you could complete that for like extra trophies or achievements or whatever. But when it comes to goodies like extra bonus stuff, you do get a couple extra items for completing your entirety of your stamp cards. You get like these other items that allow you to do unlimited like limit attacks, like little bonus like perks to like finding extra bonus items in different dungeons and other places. I mean, that stuff is fine, but by the time you finish all these quests, you're done with the game. Like, you're just completely finished. There's no reason to go back. I would have loved that maybe there was like a little bonus artwork, maybe a bonus like cinematic, or another tease to like whatever Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is going to be. Something a little bit extra there to give a little bit more oomph for completing everything that the game has to offer. I would have even been cool if there were some other changes to maybe some of the dungeons or the boss fights or other little things here and there within hard mode to make that experience feel a little bit more different. Because from what I saw, and I didn't play the entire game again in hard mode, it seemed like it was the exact same experience. The other thing too I thought was weird is that once you complete all the side quests, all the quests in the entire game just trigger again, and you could just go to the NPCs and talk to them, and if you have all the items on hand, you just get like double or triple of the rewards from before. It's kind of weird, maybe it's a game glitch, I can't tell, but it was just kind of goofy just to see that happen. After finishing everything and completing my stamp cards, was it all really worth it? Can I recommend that you pick up and play Eiyuden Chronicle Rising for any platform? The truth is, I like this game, even though I have some nitpicks about it. It's hard to fully appreciate everything in this story without having played the full game that this is supposed to be a spin-off to. But if you forget about that for a moment and focus on everything else within Rising, what you have here is a good action RPG with some extra stuff mixed in. The combat is flashy and fast-paced, it feels good to play, and the visuals are pretty darn good. If you're planning on picking up Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes eventually, this may be a good way to get you ready for it, or at least distract you for a little while as you wait patiently. So that's that. Those are my thoughts about Eiyuden Chronicle Rising for multiple platforms. I played it on the Xbox Series S through Game Pass. I feel like I should also say that if you're not planning on getting Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes down the line in 2023, you're probably not going to get the most out of this game because it's just going to kind of be like whatever for you. It's not going to, really kind of, cause you to go out and get that other game unless you're really into RPGs or just anime styles games, with the storytelling and stuff and the characters. But as far as just the game on its own, I thought it was good. I enjoyed what it was, even though I had my nitpicks about it. But if you just like action RPGs and you just want a good, enjoyable experience you could probably finish in a weekend, it took me about like 12 or so hours to complete everything, I feel like you could get some enjoyment out of this. But like any other game that I review on this channel, those are just my thoughts about Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. Let me know your own thoughts about this game down below in the comment section. Tell me, are you a fan of action RPGs? Do you like Suikoden? Are you going to be picking up Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes? What are some of your other favorite RPGs that might be similar to this one or similar to Suikoden or any other of the big classics from the PS1 era? Tell me about those games down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. I appreciate your support and your patience with me for getting these videos out. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon for notifications if you could too. It helps out the channel a ton. You could also join my Discord server via the link in the description box in order to be part of the community we have there. And don't forget about my Patreon too. There's a ton of exclusive gaming content from me that you'll get just by joining up for just $1 a month. Definitely check it out when you can. Thanks again for everything, peace out, and stay epic, everyone.